Afternoon folks, I just thought I'd turn that camera on. I felt like making an axe, so figured it might be interesting to watch. Sounds good, doesn't it? If I can get it on target. I'm just trying to get control of this bit of flint. Which kind of means I'm focusing on this rather than you guys, but feel free to talk among yourselves. Throw abuse, spend stars, generally enjoy the next half an hour of your life. This is called roughing out, gaining control over a random shape. I thought I'd dress up for the occasion too. It's mostly done with a big hammer stone, and then as we get a little bit closer to a shape, we'll move over to a big deer antler soft hammer. I promise I'll read back through the messages, but for now I'm going to focus on this bit of flint, because otherwise things will go drastically wrong. Good old raw flint knapping. Well, we've had snow today, we've had sun today, we've had 70-mile-an-hour winds today, a little bit of rain, but currently some nice sunshine. I've just been to Grimes Graves, where I've been doing a little bit of filming. Took the drone up, that nearly blew away, but I've still got it. I'm down in my pit down at Barnham. What other craft sings to you like this? It's somewhat warmer than yesterday though. I was in Wales at a place called Mitchell's Fold, which is a stone circle, on my way back from a taxidermy course with Maud. That was freezing up there. Whew. I need to get through here. The secret is don't go straight at it. Work your way in from the end. If you're at work, you're probably 1 o'clock, lunch hour. You're probably sitting there eating your sandwiches. One way of spending your hour, isn't it? We're nearly through it. We'll just reorganise it just here. Try and come through there. It's all about getting the shape right. On that occasion I haven't. Let's try again then. That looks better. Basically you want everything just to cast over the surface and complete the journey that you send it on, rather than run into a stop causing hinges out on the surface. Thanks for dropping in, guys. Hope you're finding this enjoyable. So there's time for delicacy when you're flint knapping, and there's times when you don't want to be delicate. This piece of flint is from a place near Norwich in North Norfolk, out of a quarry called Caister St Edmunds, and it typically has all these little marks in, and they don't stop you knapping the stone. Well, some do, but this seems fairly stable. Oh, it's turning out a nice day. Hopefully you can see we're kind of getting into the right park. There's lots of little refinements to balance it. This is just going to be an axe head, so I don't have to over thin it. Kind of that sort of thickness is all good. I can tell you one thing, it's enjoyable to do when it goes right. It's actually enjoyable to do when it doesn't go right. I spent enough years with it going wrong before it would go right. I was stuck at it. Or it's stuck at me, one of them, whichever way round you want to look at it. But it's a craft you never get bored of. So See, what we're doing is keeping things nice and refined, getting straight lines. Up the back here, I've got that's out of play, and I've got that's out of play. So I've got to sort. Up the front it's all good, but it's just sorting that a little bit out. They're not going to be the easiest in the world, but I reckon we'll do it. Once you get to know how to handle these shapes, it's not too much different to stitching really. You just organise shapes and move your way along through them. On the odd occasion though, you'll slip a stitch and things will go wrong, and that may or may not be recoverable. So it's getting smaller and smaller. It's always so much more pleasant to do when it's not raining. If it starts raining, these soft hammers get wet and they go soft. Then they become unusable. So we got through that. But as you can see, I've got a little bit of organising along that edge. Now that one is the last bit to get control over. We don't need completely all that length. So I can use that length to approach this. You have to watch out when you're going up near the ends though, because you can cause shock waves that do naughty things, like split the whole thing in half. That's why they call it end shock. So this is red deer antler, and you can see in there it's got kind of a load of cork in it. And that really helps because it sucks up residual shock waves that don't get used in the shot and reduces the amount of things that go wrong, in my experience. So the little end is the bit that goes in the handle, and the broad end is the bit that sticks out of the handle. A lot of people ask me why I don't wear gloves or glasses. I started when I was 5 years old, and I never wore gloves then, nor glasses, and I never saw a reason to start. It's the dust you want to get rid of, and that's why I do my napping outside. We're slowly cutting through that. So I started this at 1 o'clock, and it should be around about a 25-minute process. If everything goes well, you'll end up with an axe head, but that'll be called a rough out, because then it needs to be ground and polished to make it a proper Neolithic axe head, something that they were using 4,000 years ago for tree felling. So yesterday we were driving home from Wales, about a 4-hour journey, and on the way back we were listening to a program called Ancestors by Alice Roberts. Many of you might know her. She's I think she's a professor in archaeology, beyond a doctor of archaeology, and she was talking about different sites, and she'd been to one called Paviland Cave in Wales. I tried to get there once, but the tide was wrong, so I couldn't get to the beach to get up to it. So it's something I want to do yet. But it was really interesting because they were looking at everything about the skeleton and the tools and the ivory that had come out of that cave. So the skeleton was called the Paviland Red Lady, that ended up becoming a man. But it was really well explained, and they really tightened down onto what period that happened. And it was something that was discovered back in the 1800s, and one of the way antiquarians were trying to present it alongside things like the Bible and religion. They're both conflicting, because the fellow who was the antiquarian, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, some of you will know, you could say his name if you wanted, but yeah, he was having a hell of a job really, because he didn't want to take the burial too far back in time, because he'd upset the religion aspect of the Bible. Must have been a hell of a challenge back then. But the reason I'm running on about that is because it was interesting, and if you like this subject, Ancestors by Alice Roberts, she introduces throughout the whole book, I think there's 9 British burials which are really worth getting to know. So the prehistoric adventures I've got coming up, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to explore her book and take us on them adventures. Hopefully do a couple of them this year. Get across there. The thing about flint knapping is you can't put back what you've taken off. So only some of you know what this stone looked like when I began. And, well, there's nothing I can do about that. I can't show it to you because it's changed now. But there we have it. There's a Neolithic axe head. So hope you enjoyed that, guys. Just a short little moment to come in and show you how one of them was produced. I don't know how long we've been on, but I think that took about 25 minutes to produce, and we need somebody to grind it now, really, make that smooth. Anyway, there you go. Thanks to the stars, and hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day. All the best.